I was walking in downtown St. Louis after a work event, going to the metro, when all of a sudden a teenage boy stepped in front of me and started yelling. This is that story. I was in St. Louis for a work event that was being held at the Dome at America Center, and I had actually taken the metro into downtown. I felt like it was extremely safe. There was security getting on and off the metro constantly, and it was a short walk, probably about 10 minutes to my hotel. So I was at the event for about 4 days, and every single day I was walking the streets of downtown St. Louis. And because I was at this work convention and there were so many people in the area, the streets were never empty. There was always lots of people. So throughout the whole time I was at the work event, I did not feel unsafe whatsoever. The work event that I was attending concluded on Saturday night, and my flight was departing on Sunday night. So I had a little time on Sunday morning to kind of wander around downtown St. Louis. I was staying about 1 mile away from the Arch, and so I decided Sunday morning before I checked out of the hotel that I was going to walk to the Arch, see it, not go up it. I did that about 20 years ago when I was a child, and I have no desire to do it again, and then walk back to the hotel. So I was able to do that. Seeing the Arch again was really impressive, and it brought back some good memories from my childhood. After I got back from the Arch, I hung out at the hotel for a little bit before deciding to take the metro back to the hotel. I decided to take the metro for a couple reasons. One, I took the metro in and felt like it was very safe. There was security getting on and off at almost every single stop. So I felt like it was a very secure mode of transportation. And secondly, I have had some very bad Uber experiences in the past, not only with just terrible, unsafe driving, but also a couple situations where I just felt unsafe being alone and a single woman. So I decided metro is the safest way to go. So with my floral suitcase in tow and a backpack that had over $6,000 of camera equipment in it, for the work event that I had been attending, I had over $6,000 of equipment in my backpack. I decided I was going to walk the 10 minutes to the metro. I want you to keep in mind that the streets I'm walking are basically the exact same streets that I had been walking the whole week. So if you're looking at a map, there was the main street that's going to the Dome, and then you would go over one street and the metro is down this street. So basically, it was just one street over, and these were the streets that I had been walking all week. And even though the event was over, there were still a few people in the area, so I did see other people on the street that had definitely been at the meeting that I had attended. So it was not like these streets were unfamiliar to me or that these streets had absolutely no people on them. But I turned off of the main street that I had been walking basically the whole time for this work event, and I turned, and I was probably about halfway down the street when I noticed 3 teenage boys walking my direction, and I didn't really think much of it. There were other people on the street. I had already passed a couple people, and so I just continued walking. And basically, when we were right about to cross paths with each other, the teenage boy that was the closest to me jumped in front of me and he started yelling at me. So you can better understand the situation, I'm actually going to try and reenact it for you. This is the backpack that I was wearing when the incident occurred. As you can tell, it is pretty compact. You would never guess, or at least I would never guess, that there was over $6,000 of equipment in this backpack. Additionally, I was rolling around this carry-on luggage with me. This is how the incident went down. I was walking down the street with my carry-on. I did see the 3 teenage boys approaching, and in this scenario, the carry-on is now going to represent me, and I'm going to switch roles into one of the 3 teenage boys. So we are walking towards each other, and right when we are about to pass one another, the one teenage boy jumps out in front and says, "You wanna go? You wanna go? Let's go." And then he takes a fighting stance and he's like, let's go, you wanna go? So I stand here. Immediately when this happens, as I'm walking, I stop, I flinch like this, and then I relax. I don't make eye contact with them, and I'm just staring straight forward, and I do not move whatsoever. Eventually, the teenage boy who's here, he's like wanting or taunting me, I suppose, to get in a fight. He steps aside, he looks at the other two teenage boys, they laugh, they continue walking, and I continue walking down the street. And that's what happened. Honestly, I do not know how long that whole encounter took. It seemed like forever while I was in it, but looking back, it could have only been 30 seconds. But when I was actually in the moment, it seemed to drag on forever. During this encounter, there was just a lot going through my brain. I was thinking about, okay, is he going to punch me? Is he going to knock my teeth out? Am I going to be in so much pain that I won't be able to defend myself in any way? Are they going to try to take my backpack, which has over $6,000 of equipment in it? There was just so many different scenarios playing out in my brain. And because I was traveling with air travel, I normally have pepper spray with me, but you can't fly with pepper spray or pepper gel. So I had no way of defending myself physically except for with my own body. And it was a 3 versus 1 situation. So even if I did have pepper spray, I don't know how that scenario would have played out. But being a single woman on the street, I am 5'1", like I'm very short, and there's no way that I could have fought off 3 people. So all these things were going through my head at once, and obviously it really emotionally shook me. As soon as it was over, the encounter, I called my husband, I explained what happened, I continued my walk. I was very close to the metro. Like I said, it was only a 10-minute walk to the metro, and I was probably already halfway there when this happened. So it's like, okay, I'm not gonna turn around and go back to the hotel because 1, it was the exact same direction that the group of boys, teenage boys, had gone in. So I'm not gonna go back in the direction that they just went in. And secondly, I'm halfway there, and I know that the metro, from what I experienced, was pretty safe. Like there's obviously gonna be more people around there, and there was security, I'm telling you. Both times I've rode it, because I did make it to the metro and I did ride it back to the airport, there was security that was getting on and off the metro every single stop. This encounter is the first time that I have questioned whether or not I was going to make it through a scary situation traveling alone. And honestly, it makes me a little afraid to travel alone in the future, whether that is driving or flying, because this scenario was scary. If you have any safety tips for traveling alone, especially if you're a woman, please let me know down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.